Kandahar. It's a name most of us have heard, but what's the real story behind it? Today, we're going to dive deep into a city that isn't just a dot on a map. It's a living timeline of empires. It's the cultural heart of a nation. And it holds some really vital clues to Afghanistan's past, its present, and even its future.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. This isn't about some dusty, ancient history that doesn't matter anymore. We're talking about a city whose incredibly deep roots, stretching back thousands of years, are actively shaping the complicated reality of today. And that's the story of Kandahar we're going to get into.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at its epic past as a crossroads of empires. Then we'll jump to the present day, the climate, the security. After that, we'll get practical with a guide for visitors. Then we'll explore what daily life is actually like. And we'll wrap it up by reflecting on the enduring soul of this incredible city. All right, let's start at the beginning, the history. Because honestly, to understand Kandahar today, you have to appreciate the sheer weight of the past it carries. This place isn't just a city. It's like a living, breathing timeline.
And this timeline just shows you what an incredible legacy we're talking about. It all starts way back in 330 BC, founded by Alexander the Great himself. For centuries after that, it was a massive hub on the Silk Road, a place where goods, ideas, everything just collided. Fast forward to the 1700s, and it was the actual capital of Afghanistan. And then, of course, in the 1990s, it gained a whole different kind of significance as the birthplace of the Taliban. Every single one of these moments has left a deep mark on the city.
But this history isn't all about politics and power grabs. At its very core, Kandahar is the cultural heartland for the Pashtun people. They're Afghanistan's largest ethnic group. Its traditions, its language, its social codes, they are the absolute bedrock of identity for the entire southern part of the country.
Okay, so all of that history is fascinating, right? But it leads us to the really critical question. What's it actually like to be in Kandahar today? Let's make that shift from the ancient past to the modern realities.
And the answer to that question is really shaped by two powerful forces: the environment, specifically the climate, and the security situation on the ground.
Let's start with the climate. This one number tells a huge story. 45 degrees Celsius. That's 113 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, this isn't just hot. It's an extreme defining force that basically dictates the entire rhythm of daily life there.
So yeah, we're talking about a classic hot desert climate. The summers are just brutally hot and dry, while the winters give you this brief, mild break. What this means is that for anyone who has a reason to be there, whether you're a researcher, an aid worker, or a journalist, that window between October and March is absolutely critical.
Now, for the other major reality, security. The source material is very, very clear on this point. The situation is described as sensitive. This is not a place for casual travel. It demands constant vigilance and a really deep respect for the local rules and conditions.
And these precautions, they're not just suggestions. They are absolute essentials for any foreigner. It means you follow local guidelines to the letter, you avoid all travel after dark, period, and you stay in constant communication with local authorities. And of course, the very first thing you should do is check your home country's official travel advisory.
So all of this brings us to a more practical guide. For those folks who have a legitimate professional reason to be in Kandahar, what are the essential steps you need to take?
First things first, the visa. This process requires you to have all your ducks in a row: a valid passport, usually an official invitation letter, and filling out the right application form. You submit everything through an Afghan embassy or consulate. And processing times can vary, so planning way ahead is absolutely key. Okay, so you're cleared for travel. Where do you stay? Well, there are a couple of tiers. You've got budget options like the Al-Najat Hotel and various local guest houses. For slightly better facilities, you could look at the Kandahar International Hotel. But let's be really clear, our source material says one thing loud and clear: even the better options are pretty basic by international standards. So managing your expectations is huge.
And what if something goes wrong? This is the kind of information you need to have ready just in case. Police contacts is handled at the local stations. For any medical emergencies, it's all coordinated through the hospitals. The main one is Mirwais Regional Hospital, but there are also some private clinics and medical centers run by NGOs that might be an option.
So, we've covered the history, we've covered the logistics, but what does it actually feel like to be in Kandahar? Let's talk about the city's unique culture and that powerful sense of community. The whole atmosphere of the city is deeply traditional and conservative. Life is really guided by these strong tribal and cultural values that have been around for centuries. The streets are alive. You've got these busy bazaars buzzing with motorcycles and countless little shops. There's really no nightlife to speak of. Daily life is very much centered around family and the community.
I think this quote from our source material just captures it perfectly. Life in Kandahar moves slower, but deeper. It suggests a pace of life that's less about frantic activity and way more about the strength of relationships and long-held traditions. Now, for anyone thinking of working there, the job opportunities are really concentrated in a few key areas. NGOs and humanitarian work, that's the biggest slice of the pie. Then you have local trade, healthcare, and construction. But, and this is a big but, there's a critical catch. Getting into this job market almost always requires either really strong local connections or sponsorship from an established NGO.
This deep culture isn't just an abstract idea, it's anchored in real, physical places. The Shrine of the Cloak is one of the most sacred religious sites in all of Afghanistan. You've got the mausoleums of historical leaders like Ahmad Shah Durrani, which are powerful reminders of its past glory. And from the ancient ruins of old Kandahar to the vibrant energy of its local bazaars, these landmarks are absolutely essential to the city's identity.
And that brings us to our final reflections. After exploring the history, the modern-day challenges, and the daily life, what is the essence of this place? What really is the enduring soul of Kandahar?
You know, maybe the best way to sum up the spirit of the city is this. Kandahar is not for casual tourism. It's a place for people who want to understand history, culture, and what resilience truly means, right down to its very core.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. After millennia of empires rising and falling, of trade routes shifting, of conflict and peace, Kandahar is still here. So what does it truly mean for a city and for its people to endure?